The threat that I worry the most about vis-a-vis Europe is not Russia, it's not China, it's not any other external actor. And what I worry about is the threat from within.
Oh, yeah.
The retreat of Europe from some of its most fundamental values, values shared with the United States of America. Now, I was struck that a former European commissioner went on television recently and sounded delighted that the Romanian government had just annulled an entire election. He warned that if things don't go to plan, the very same thing could happen in Germany, too. Now, these cavalier statements are shocking to American ears. For years, we've been told that everything we fund and support is in the name of our shared democratic values. Everything from our Ukraine policy to digital censorship is billed as a defense of democracy.
This is probably the main reason why J.D. Vance and Elon have been so aggressive at trying to influence European governments. Remember when J.D. Vance said in an interview that the United States should engage in retaliatory action against the EU for potentially banning Twitter for not holding up to their hate speech guidelines? They understand, and they're correct, by the way, that one of the major threats to their ability to take over this country completely, to really, truly, like, rape it to death and turn it into, like, a Fourth Reich kind of deal, is Europe. Because they and Trump are not popular in Europe. They don't have the cultural pull there that they do here, and Europe not going along with what we do both serves as a counterbalance culturally and economically.
And consider the side in that fight that censored dissidents, that closed churches, that canceled elections. Were they the good guys? Certainly not. And thank God they lost the Cold War. They lost because they neither valued nor respected all of the extraordinary blessings of liberty.
You can really feel from the speech that J.D. Vance was heavily immersed in, like, Gamergate to alt-right rhetoric, because the disingenuous appeal to freedom of speech and democracy is almost like over the hill with the Republicans, you know? Like, if you look at how Donald Trump and Elon are tweeting and talking, they do talk about, like, freedom of speech insincerely, but in a lot of cases, they're just full on, like, everyone who disagrees with me should be arrested, you know? J.D. Vance leans on this quite a bit harder, this, like, debate bro-esque, well, actually, we are the true purveyors of freedom of speech, and we are extremely troubled by Biden's crackdown on freedom of speech by using the FBI to put pressure on Facebook, and it's like, they know they're lying, but don't they always?
This last October, just a few months ago, the Scottish government began distributing letters to citizens whose houses lay within so-called safe access zones, warning them that even private prayer within their own homes may amount to breaking the law.
Yeah, we find anyone who's been, like, charged with that. Remember when Jordan Peterson spent years fear-mongering about people getting arrested and convicted for using the wrong pronouns, and then it didn't happen to anyone ever? Was it Bill C-16? Was that the name of it? Where he was literally, like, hysterical about it. Oh, they're going to come after all of us. They can arrest me. I would rather die in prison than censor myself and not use biological pronouns or whatever. And then it never happened to anyone. I just, like, come on.
So I come here today not just with...
He is completely lying about the safe access zones in Scotland. Okay, I appreciate you providing that link. I just don't want you providing that link to lead to the implication that anything he's saying is true. Like, so you've debunked this. That's great. But we should assume it's all auto-debunked, basically, is what I'm saying, you know? I just don't want people to be like, okay, well, that's been debunked, but, like, here's another thing, like, maybe there's some truth to it. You should just always assume the professional liars are lying.
You can believe it's wrong for Russia to buy social media advertisements to influence your elections. We certainly do. You can condemn it on the world stage even.
Do you?
But if your democracy can be destroyed with a few $100,000 of digital advertising from a foreign country, then it wasn't very strong to begin with.
Hold on, wait. He's cooking with this one. I agree. We really should look at the way money influences politics. Is that so? Wait, what? So he's, like, admitting it happened, but he's like, well, you should have just rolled with it, I guess. Okay, I agree. We should have stronger democratic institutions, I guess. Okay.
Now, the good news is that
I'm glad I'm watching the full thing, because I saw some clips. I didn't realize the applause was like this.
Now, to many of us on the other side of the Atlantic, it looks more and more like old entrenched interests hiding behind ugly Soviet-era words like misinformation and disinformation.
Okay, incredibly tone deaf. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking how heavily can you lay this shit on, man? Yeah, from over in America, it seems like commie bullshit, basically. Basically, like, the deep state has taken root in your countries, and it's like communism. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm literally just, like, wing-dinging this shit. I'm doing ad-libs, mad-libs. I'm slapping words, magnet words on a fridge.
Who simply don't like the idea that somebody with an alternative viewpoint might express a different opinion or, God forbid, vote a different way or, even worse, win an election.
See, like, this is so specific to American conservatives. Again, I'm not an expert on Europe, let alone every country in it. God, right? It's a complicated place. But, like, this aggrievement, this idea of, like, you know, the censorious deep state is preventing us conservatives from speaking up and so on and so forth. Like, this is born of, like, a very concentrated political moment.
And speaking up and expressing opinions isn't election interference. Even when people express views outside your own country, and even when those people are very influential. And trust me, I say this with all humor, if American democracy can survive 10 years of Greta Thunberg scolding, you guys can survive a few months of Elon Musk.
Ooh. Yeah, that's the clip that I saw. And how well it played out. How is that even slightly comparable? Me, when my brain is molten soup, and has been pulped by the culture war. Remember that, like, 17-year-old girl with the pigtails who asked you to stop mining as much? The one who was, like, largely popular and was held up and celebrated in a lot of circles, at least until she got really based and started to be, like, a socialist and anti-Zionist. Yeah, well, so basically, like, let Elon Musk rule you. What, who is this for? You can survive a few months of Elon Musk? Motherfucker, he's not even an elected official in our country. Do you mean he's gonna be for them too? What do you mean by that? You can survive a few months of Elon? You know what? This isn't even AFD posting. This is purely like Elon wrote this into the script. What else can you say? Literally, like, what else can you say than that? Like what? Why would you say that? Why would you say that? You can survive Elon? The comparison is insane. For no reason, you're implicating yourself by suggesting that they'll have to be burdened with Elon, a thing they'll have to survive. In what capacity would this survival take place? Insane.
As Pope John Paul II, in my view, one of the most extraordinary champions of democracy on this continent or any other, once said, "Do not be afraid." We shouldn't be afraid of our people, even when they express views that disagree with their leadership. Thank you all. Good luck to all of you. God bless you.
The crazy thing, too, I guess, is that in addition to this entire speech being awful, like, morally in its intended effect, it also doesn't, like, what is the central message of this? It seems like the only thing he really wanted to say was, don't arrest people for being conservative. But he didn't even deliver on that point very well. A lot of this was, like, empty euphemism. You understand what I'm talking about? Like, if there was an intended message, an intended delivery here, it wasn't even followed up on very strongly.